All right, welcome back to the podcast, second episode. The podcast that we have yet to name.
Which we have to figure that out. So that's actually the question of the day that's on the board.
Okay.
And we have some pretty good ideas, recommendations. I even have some people like messaging me on Instagram being like, hey, how about this? How about that? So I haven't even told you those. So we'll go over those later.
Were there some good questions on the board while I was gone?
So the main question on the board was how you did on your lifting competition. So that's kind of where, I knew the outcome already because it was over the weekend.
Yeah.
And so Monday I put it on the board. And most people were, saying that they thought you did well.
Well, yes, it's kind of like with any sports, right? Like when you have a bad one previously, you kind of have no choice but to bounce back.
Okay.
Unless your name is the Jets.
Oh.
But
low blow.
Yeah, well, I did win. That was fun, and it was a fun vacation out of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you won. Why don't you explain to everybody, what it took to win? So meaning from a lifting perspective, not from the training side, but like day of competition.
Okay.
Like walk us through what happened.
Well, so we obviously have three lifts. We have squatting, benching, and deadlifting. And then after the first event, we were the person that was close to me was pretty neck and neck with me.
Okay.
I was only like 10 pounds ahead of him. But he does bench press a good amount more than me. So he would kind of close the gap there. But he, unfortunately for him, but fortunately enough for me, he didn't make a successful lift in any bench presses.
Okay.
So he just bombed out, what we call it. So he was out of the competition.
Oh, wow.
At that point, I was a good amount ahead of the third place person that I kind of was able to just free ball my attempts into the next lift.
Okay.
Without having to worry too much. That's not the way I like to win. Just
Okay.
because like that mentality where you want to face the person at their best.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know if you had the same mentality when it comes.
Oh, of course. Any sport, you always want to beat a team at their best or an individual person at their best. It doesn't maybe feel exactly the same. You're probably so excited and thrilled with the outcome, but I know what you mean from like a competitor standpoint.
Yeah, you want to have a satisfaction of winning the proper way.
Of course. All right, so that was your lifting. So now you qualified for nationals.
Yeah, which is 12 weeks away. I just had a conversation with my coach too. Just kind of going over the game plan and stuff like that. And it's the first week of September. I'm obviously not going to stay there for as long, just because, God forbid, the baby is early. That can't happen. So I'll probably just take a Friday and just go Friday and come back Sunday.
Okay.
God forbid she's.
So when the twins were born, they were premature. I ended up going to work, and it was a mad dash from here to the hospital, and then they were born like 30 minutes after I got to the hospital. Okay. So for you to be in Utah and something happened, that's got to be like, that can't happen.
Yeah.
So you got to feel pretty secure about where she's at and how everything's going, right?
I think I could be getting this totally wrong, but any women can correct me on this. But I think it's like it depends on where your uterus or your cervix is.
Okay.
In relationship to something else. And how far that's along.
It's a great question. I should probably ask my wife that. She might know the answer to that. She was a labor and delivery nurse for 13 years. So yeah, maybe we'll put that out there for everyone. See what people.
Right, Paige can be the next guest.
All right, we'll ask her. We'll ask her what's going on. All right, so you traveled to Maine. How was Maine?
Well, I don't know if you would agree with me on this, but food is great. Food is great. Food is better than New York. Every state that we've been to, food is better than New York.
Especially those Pennsylvania sourdough bagels.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. Now every state that we've been to, all the food has been better than New York. But everyone says that I'm wrong. Okay. Give me like a few restaurants that you feel like are top notch in New York, whether it's in the city, in the boroughs, Long Island.
So on Long Island, I just love steakhouses. So
okay,
Prime, Insignia,
Okay.
Tellers.
Tellers was good. Tellers is good.
You went there, right?
Yes.
Luger's. I just feel like whenever I travel, I never go to a place like that. So I definitely, am I gonna go to like a barbecue joint on Long Island? Maybe, maybe not. But if I'm like in Texas, 1,000%. So like I know different places obviously do it better. And I think it's also like maybe I don't know. Maybe it's like the places you're seeking out have more of like a health conscious component to it.
Yes, but now that I'm also thinking about it, the states that we go to the restaurants that they're specifically known for, right? So then it's kind of unfair, right? Like if I'm comparing New York, so I guess New York's known for like your pizza and bagels, right?
Of course.
I'm comparing the pizza in New York and bagels compared to like Texas barbecue. It's hard to compare.
Of course, that's apples and oranges. But okay, so Maine was great. I mean, I had a lobster roll this weekend just because I knew you were away.
Yeah.
How were the lobster rolls?
These were actually my first time having lobster rolls.
And?
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
The thing that is troublesome to think about is a lobster roll is anywhere between 25 and 35 bucks. But it's like 4 or 5 ounces of meat that's gone in like 3-4 bites. So it's like that's 35 bucks down the drain.
That was my experience this weekend. I got my lobster roll and I looked at it and I'm like, where's the lobster? It's like crumbs compared to like, I've been to some places where it's like, overflowing outside the bun. I know we talked about it before you went away, but you were on the fence maybe about getting a hot or a cold. What did you?
I actually tried both.
Okay.
So we tried 4 different ones.
You had 4 different lobster rolls. Nice.
So, there were times when I went to the restaurant, just had the lobster roll and walk out. But I would definitely say a warm one. I know we've had that poll question before, and the warm one definitely is superior. It's just so much more a pop of flavor compared to like the cold ones.
Yes, I just love the butter on it. It's so good. So good.
There was one that we had that was brown butter. I don't know what brown butter is.
I feel like I should know the answer to this question, and I don't.
I think it's just butter that's cooked and melted. I don't know if that's what brown butter is.
I feel like that's too simple. I don't know. Okay, maybe. Okay. You might be right. I don't know the answer to this question. So, speaking of questions, let's just skip right to that.
Okay.
The question of the day while you were gone was, how you did in your lifting competition. Mm-hmm. Right now, it is what should we name this podcast?
Yeah.
And going forward, you would like to propose a question of the day. What do you got for us, Kev?
All right. I didn't put this up on the board yet because I think it's actually funny to put this here. Because based on a conversation that we had with one of our patients, I forgot how it kind of came up. But if you get to this point in this video, but if Joe stinks, or I stink, or any of our staff stinks or smells a BO, would you feel comfortable enough to tell us?
I think the answer across the board is no. I think it's no. I think there was a couple patients in here who were like, yes, I would tell you. And I just feel like go back to any doctor interaction you've ever had where maybe there was like an older person and they kind of had you would never say anything as like a sign of like respect.
That's different though.
That's different. Why?
Because we don't see those doctors all the time. Our patients come here at least once a week, maybe twice a week. And the first person that came to mind is, I'm not going to say his name, but he had back surgery, walks around with a cane sometimes.
Yeah.
One of your friends. He would tell you.
Yeah. Would he tell me?
Yes.
As a friend? Yes. So that's like, I've known him for 20 years. Right? So it's like, okay, no, it's not a bad example. It's just one end of the spectrum. I think that, I think this is going to be an interesting question. I'm going to love to hear. I want to know if anyone has ever done that to their doctors or healthcare providers or whatever. You're right. People are in here 2 to 3 times a week. We had, established good rapport with them.
Yeah.
So your interactions with them change over time.
Yeah.
So I think there are a couple people who would definitely say yes, but I don't know if they went to, an orthopedist because they sprained their ankle and that person is coming in hot.
All right.
Are they going to do that? So
let me ask you this: if one of us stunk, would you tell us?
Okay, so the answer to that question is no.
No.
The
No.
answer to that question is no. You would want me to say something. I am so bad with this. We have patients who lay face down on the table and the women, their eyeliner smears. And sometimes I'm just like, I guess they're going to find out when they look in the mirror because I'm not saying anything. I don't know why.
So let me give you an example.
I avoid awkward conversations.
No,
why would I
you're
force
helping them out? So like, so let's say like Michaela stunk today. She doesn't, by the way. But
okay.
If she stunk and she's walking around helping patients, giving them hot packs, helping them with exercise, and they're just looking at you like, this girl stinks, Joe. but you could have prevented that by telling her.
All right. Yeah, I'm probably not saying anything. Definitely not saying anything. I don't know why. To me, it's like, I don't know.
Right.
I'd just be like, I guess, maybe she went to the gym before she came here and, she's doing her best. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, probably. So, okay, I would not tell you if you stung. You would tell me, though.
It depends on how bad. If it's like a 2 out of 10, probably not.
Probably not.
But after like 4 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay, so now the reason this came up is because I was looking at indoor portable showers because during my lunch break, I want to go out and go for runs and exercise. And I'm trying to figure out, and, is that the reason why I'm not exercising? No, like anyone could always find excuses not to. But I feel like I ran so much in the winter and it was cold. So like I cooled off quickly. Mm-hmm. And in the summer, I struggle with that. So I'm like, I would like to hose down a little bit. And to me, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I would never want to put myself in a situation where I potentially did not smell my best when I'm treating patients.
I just want to put this out there. I can't wait for you to get a portable shower. First of all, he's looking at buckets. They're not like overhead showers. Having a patient come in at 3:00 and it's like, hey, where's Joe? Oh, he's showering out of a bucket in the bathroom.
Well, one of my buddies, he's like, oh, you just like go to a gym or whatever. He owns a business and he's like, I put a shower in my bathroom, but the bathroom is probably like a similar size to ours. Mm-hmm. So it's like kind of doesn't belong. Like it doesn't look like it belongs. It doesn't have its like own defined space.
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't care. He's like, I work out and then I shower and I move on with my day. And I'm like, I just wish I could like, all I want to do is like hose off. I don't need like full deep shower.
Yeah.
But like to work 5 hours and then have a 2-hour break and then work another 5 hours and not shower in between. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay. Let's talk about what's going on at CAPPY. So we just hit our 1-year anniversary moving into the new office while you were gone. We celebrated by giving everyone free CAPPY t-shirts. We had bagels and some people brought in donuts and stuff. It was good. It was a good vibe in here last week.
Where did you get your bagels from?
Michaela, where did we get our bagels from? Broadway Gourmet.
Okay. So again, while I was away, I had a great bagel. I think it was cold fried, just like pizza would be.
Okay, cold fire.
Cold fire, yes.
Okay.
Just like some pizzas would be. And that was phenomenal.
Let me guess. Was it sourdough?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
But so the 2 states that I've been to that have had bagels now are better than Long Island bagels. But I know that everyone says that that's not true. Okay. Now I want to know, where are people getting their bagels that they're so good? Because every time I've had bagels, they're not that good.
So have you had a bagel from Broadway Gourmet?
No. So I guess I have to try that.
You got to try that. That's what Corey will sometimes, or Michaela, like in the morning, like, do you want something? They'll bring one in.
Okay.
Or obviously like Sequa. It's a deli. It's not maybe known for their bagels, but so.
Okay.
Would you go to the spot down the block here that says bagels or hot bagels or whatever? Where do you go?
Multiple bagel bosses, I think they're called.
Okay.
They were okay.
Yeah.
I'd probably give them maybe a 7.5, 6.5, 7 out of 10.
Okay. Well, what kind of bagel do you like? Like if you go to get
everything bagel.
Everything bagel. Yeah. Okay.
Well, how was the rest of the anniversary?
It was great. It was, just happy to sit back and reflect on a great first year here. I mean, this space is just awesome for what we want to do in here. So I just really feel I love it.
How do you feel mentally, like seeing the way that you have seen how far you've come from? I know the beginning that you said that you were in basically a shack the size of your portable shower, to now having your own space that's been up and running for a year. How does that feel mentally?
Mentally, I think it's great. I don't think too much of it. I think I don't know. When you're doing this, you're just always thinking ahead. You know, to celebrate an anniversary is the moment to like sit back and look back and see, okay, wow. You know, and some of my patients will be like, remember what we used, I saw you at the other place and remember how many patients you had and all this stuff. And now it's kind of like, sometimes I see what we have in front of us and it's great. I love it. I still remember when I hired you,
you were telling me about
I was like, this is the vision, this is what it's going to look like. You know, not that I felt like I needed to sell you on it, but you know, I want to be in a great space to promote healing and create a great environment. And I feel like we've done that. I mean, even this podcast is kind of like a reflection of that. Like this is the conversations that are had in here, and it's just fun to be able to share it with everybody.
Well, I remember when I first joined CAP that you were telling me how it was gonna come true in like 4 months, and it became 6 months, and then 8 months, and then like I think it was like 10 months later or something like that. That it finally came true. A lot of work between all of us that went to this office actually, but it's nice to see it come to life.
Yeah. Thanks, Kev. Love it. Okay, so that was our 1 year anniversary. Hopefully many more here. It's a great space, great parking lot, great people, great neighbors. Let's go into the patient's question of the day. So this question comes from Andrew. My mid back is always tight. What are some strategies I could do to loosen them up? So I'm going to kind of start with this, and you're going to kind of just jump in with the mobility and exercise component. So basically how I want to frame this is what it looks like when you kind of come in for a physical therapy session. So first thing we're going to do is do a hot pack on the mid back, thoracic spine region. Thoracic spine mobility is so important. So when you're tight and limited in this area, it could affect a lot of things. It can contribute to neck pain. It can contribute to low back pain. So this is a big area of focus, even if the patient's not coming in because their mid back is tight, right? So moist heat on the mid back, that increases blood flow, heats up the tissue. Then we do instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization, right, which is the scraping technique to try to mobilize the myofascial layer. Then what we will do is a lot of time trigger point release with our hands, specifically to the rhomboid, erector spinae muscles, upper trap, middle trap. Those are, you know, patients love when you kind of dig into those trigger points, and helps, they can really feel the reduction in the tension of those muscles as we work on it. And then I like to finish with an adjustment. So grade 5 manipulation to the thoracic spine. After doing all of that stuff, it really makes doing the adjustment easier, and I think it sticks and lasts longer. So now after we do the manual therapy component, we just created all this looseness of the tissue, increased blood flow, improved thoracic mobility. Now we're going to go and do some exercises. So why don't you go over maybe 2 or 3 exercises that you like to do for thoracic mobility?
So when it comes to thoracic mobility, like you obviously think about bending forward, bending back for flexion and extension, but it's also very important that you focus on rotation, right? You have plenty of mobility that needs to be discovered there. So one of the exercises I like to do is doing foam roll up the wall, so that focuses a little bit more on extension-based exercise. Another one I like to give is child's pose. Sometimes it gets a little bit of lower back too, but primarily you can get a little bit of that thoracic spine flexion. And then we will kind of finish off with open book, where you kind of lay on your side. You either laying on your side or standing up, opening up thoracic rotation, just kind of getting basically 360 degrees of range.
Awesome. Love it. I find that to be such a successful strategy after we do all the manual therapy. And, one of the things we're going to focus on in this podcast when we educate people on physical therapy and what we do, it's primarily the manual therapy component. Anyone can do these exercises, anyone can give these exercises, but releasing all the tissue prior to it, I think, makes the exercises more effective. And that's kind of, part of our strategy. So that was great. That was a great answer to that question. I think that next thing we're going to do is we're going to show the videos of us demonstrating those things to you guys. So next thing we're going to go over is thoracic spine grade 5 manipulation. We were talking during our podcast about limitations in thoracic spine mobility, and this is a very effective technique. Some physical therapists perform it, mostly chiropractors perform it, but when we're dealing with a lot of tension in the thoracic spine, in conjunction with all the soft tissue work that we do, I find it to be a very helpful adjustment, pun intended. Okay, so how are we doing, Michaela? Okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. We'll tighten this through here. So first thing I'm going to do is just kind of assess the mobility in her mid-back. Okay, right there feels restricted. Take a deep breath in. Blow it out. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And that's how we perform a grade 5 manipulation of thoracic spine.
All right, the first exercise that we mentioned earlier is going to be foam roll up the wall. Usually we like to start with the foam roll around eye level, and then with your wrist on it, all you're doing is rolling it up. And then you can lean your body forward a little bit. I already felt kind of a little bit of a crack and stretch in my thoracic spine. This one's the one that's promoting a little bit more extension. And then we're going to go into flexion. That's going to be child's pose, where you can do this on the floor or on any surface that's a little bit more flat. Lean your hips back and then having your arms stretched forward. You can take some deep inhalations. You kind of can see my mid back actually expanding. One more time. Okay. So those two are flexion and extension. Now we're going to do rotation, which is open book. You can do this standing or laying on your side. You can have one leg bent just to anchor yourself. One arm under the head, arm forward. You're going to reach up and then roll towards the other side, ideally without a wall in your way. But you can hold all of these. You can do 5-second holds, 30 reps, or extend the time and just decrease the total sets.
All right, Kev. Today is Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
I'm very excited.
You're very excited. So your prediction of Mavs in 7, I guess, is still on the table.
It is, but that's never happened before. Where a team has been down 3-0 and then came back. I'm kind of confident in them being the first team in doing it. I wouldn't put my money on it.
Well, what are you putting your money on? Have you been watching any of this?
Yes,
you have. Okay.
So I believe the day of my meet was the first game, and then I bet I forgot what it was. I think it was just total points.
Okay.
I just think that these teams are so good at like defense with each other that they're not scoring a ton of points. Aside from this last game, where the Celtics kind of dropped the ball. But I think if the Mavs do win this game, it'll go to Game 7, just because they're going to be riding momentum into Game 6 at home and win that, and then we'll see who wins Game 7.
I like that. I like that take. The Celtics will win tonight and be champions.
Finally.
Wow.
And then when it comes to the Stanley Cup.
Tonight's Game 5. Oh, no. tomorrow's Game 5.
I haven't been following it, but
There's been not much to follow.
I saw a post saying that I think the Panthers were up 3-0.
Yes.
So just like
In
NBA,
basketball,
right?
yeah.
Like, what are the chances that they lose 4 in a row? Pretty
Yeah, no,
low.
you think that there would be a lot tighter series.
Yeah.
Edmonton has, two of the best players on the planet. It's kind of crazy how they haven't really showed up on the ice yet. I think that, in that Game 4 they really did.
Well, it's
and
interesting.
It seemed like a statement game.
It's interesting because the first 3 games they were shut out 3-0.
Yeah.
And then the fourth game they both losing teams blew them out.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So,
yeah. I was getting nervous with that. Back in the day, it's not the best analogy for it, but this is just kind of like how I remember it. The Yankees were playing the Red Sox, and it was, I think, 2004.
Okay.
And the Yankees had a 3-0 lead on the Red Sox. And in that Game 3, they scored like 17 runs. I forget what the actual number was, but they just blew them out. And it was just like, this series is over. And the Yankees ended up losing that series. That's nuts. That, like, I just feel like when you have a big game like that, sometimes you're just like emptying the tank, and then you could kind of see it the next few games that they just can't score. Like, it's like everything was just clicking on that game.
So what do you say? Are you saying
that
the Celtics was having such a good Game 3, or are you saying that Mavs blew emptied their tank?
I look at the NBA and the NHL Game 4 as both teams blowing them out, as like they emptied everything into that game.
Okay.
And on the other side of that, they're gonna come up short because they just, I don't know what that is. Maybe that's like a silly take, but that's how I feel.
You think both teams are gonna end up losing?
Yes, okay. I think both. I think today we have an NBA Finals champion, and I think that the NHL Stanley Cup is decided tomorrow.
Okay, it's a hot take.
It's a hot take, but yeah, that's what I think.
All right.
This weekend was a little rough for our New York Yankees. They lost 2 out of 3 games to the Red Sox.
They lost the series.
They lost series, First time we played them all year. Yankees have like 12 game lead on them in the standing, so I'm not like concerned. But you kind of I feel like the Yankees Red Sox rivalry the past few years has kind of been like a little bit flatlined. And if you watched any of those games, you could hear it in the crowd. There was a little bit of excitement in Boston this weekend. I don't know if that's carryover from the Celtics being in the finals or what it is, but it felt like a Yankees Red Sox game.
Okay.
And I'm very excited about that. Like, I feel like that's been lacking.
What's interesting about baseball, not interesting about baseball, but this weekend I won a bet on basketball.
Okay.
And then I was like, let me take everything that I won and put on baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I have zero knowledge about baseball.
Okay.
I bet on 3 separate teams. I can't name a single player on any of the teams. And I won.
So, okay. How can you do that? Like, how do you feel confident enough to put money on something that you don't know what the outcome would be? Like, where did you go to maybe get knowledge or research or whatever? No way.
This is like the same concept.
This is rolling the dice, baby.
It's like the same concept as like do like March Madness or something like that, right? People talk about how people don't know anything, do the best. And this is I was comfortable putting money on it because, like, let's say you spend $5 and you won 20. Now that 20, it's not your money.
Oh yeah, it's boy math.
Yeah, it's boy math.
It's boy math. Yeah,
so
yeah,
that 20 was a free money that was given.
It's free
to
money.
Anyway.
Yeah, so it's easy to bet free money.
Yeah, if you use that money and you make more money,
yep,
it's even better.
Love
but
it.
If you lose it $20, you didn't lose anything.
I like this.
Yeah,
I love this. Boy math.
Boy math.
Boy math always wins. Great. All right, so I think we'll end this episode there.
Okay.
Welcome back. Everyone obviously missed you a ton while you were gone. And
I actually have one more thing to say.
What you got?
All right. Yesterday was Father's Day.
Yep.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Happy Father's Day.
I was posting stories about me building my little girl's room, and then one of my friends responds to one of my stories saying Happy Father's Day.
Yep.
That is the craziest feeling. It is like, I don't know how you felt during your first Father's Day, but like going years and decades of your life without celebrating Father's Day as your own, and then having someone say it to you, I was like, this is mind blowing.
I will take it even like one step further. So I would say the twins were 4, Parker was 1, and I still couldn't believe that I was somebody's father. Like that kind of like it still blew my mind. I'm like, like they call me dad. Like daddy is cute.
Yeah.
And once they like hit a certain age and they're like dad, then it like just it hits different. It hits different. So, Father's Day is always a great time. Obviously to celebrate with your father and your, you know, grandfathers or whoever's still around. But
Yeah.
I just feel like yeah, it's a great thing.
Do you think mothers adjust to Mother's Day mentally faster, or do fathers?
I think that they probably feel like a mother way before we feel like a father.
Yeah.
Like mentally.
I do agree with that.
I think so. That's I think that's just like nature.
Yeah.
It's human nature.
Versus nurture kind
That's
of
it.
thing. Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
All right. Well, good job. Until next episode.
Good to be back.
Good to be back. Let's go, Yanks.
Let's go, Mavs.
Let's go, Mavs.